be merciful in your with our shortcomings. But we have an amazing guest today with us, Hanabi. We're going to hear all about her today. I guess we can start by introducing ourselves a bit more. Rol-J, would you care to go ahead? I'll also turn on your mic.
So, hello everyone. As you know, I'm Rol-J Williams. I'm a third year biochemist here at St. Andrews. And I think this is an important and critical show here for us here at St. Andrews to highlight the talent of St. Andrews. And I think the best guest we could have had for our first show is none other than Hanabi Blackmoor. As many of you would know as you follow my social media, Hanabi did a commission for me, and we think we'll discuss that more later in the show. And so, John, I'll turn it back over to you to do your intro, and then we'll have Hanabi do her intro as well.
All right. Hi, I'm John Jennings. I'm a second-year Sustainable Development student. I also help run our website. Yes, we have a website where we hope to bring you loads of great content. In fact, at the moment, we have 2 contributors working on our website, giving you guys content, along with our weekly uploads of our show, as well as the bios of our guests for the upcoming weeks. We also have Hanabi's bio up there. Go ahead and check out our contributors. Make sure you follow them, give them lots of love. So far, La Petite Boss has made a post. Shout out to her. She's a friend from high school. She's a very talented artist. She's in dance and music. She's also an incredible fashionista. So if you want to check out fashion tips and more about contemporary feminism, please go ahead and check out her little tab on our website, personalityradio.net. All right.
All right. Hanabi, you want to say a bit about yourself, what you do here?
Yeah, hi. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be in this fantastic studio. I really like the images on the board, especially that Donald Trump tweet about presidential harassment. I really like that touch. But yeah, I'm happy to be here, and I'll probably be talking about my art.
Great. Hanabi, let's start off by asking a bit more about yourself. So maybe you can tell us a bit about your background, your introduction to art, and maybe some of the stuff that you got involved with when you came to St. Andrews.
Mm-hmm. So I'm taking modern history and IR at the moment, and I'm in my second year. My background. So I basically was born in Edinburgh, then went to Japan when I was 2 years old, lived in Japan all my life, and then came to St. Andrews. So a lot of my art features quite Japanese things in it, like even kanji, really, or sometimes I did something that's quite controversial in A-level art, which was the imperial flag behind.
Ooh.
Yes. I wasn't having any moral conversation through it or anything. It's just I thought the aesthetic was quite pretty, so I just used it. Yeah. But yeah, I can see how some people might find that controversial. But anyway, so I'm from Japan, and I got into art because of my dad, basically. He went into art university for a couple years, and I remember when I was a child, I would paint with him. We would get A4 sheets of paper from a sketchbook and stick them next to each other to make this huge canvas, and then make a bear that's going through water in it through acrylic, and that was when I was 8 years old, and I remember doing that, and I was just always into art. So yeah.
Are there any particular societies in St. Andrews that you're involved in, art societies or general societies? I'm
the culture editor for the Tribe Online, so check the Tribe Online out. I write a few articles there as well, and I'm an events coordinator in Capture Collective, famous for its drink and draws and alternative art histories in Eichmann's. And
when is that?
We do it occasionally, maybe once every 3 weeks or so. It's just whenever we have a lecturer that we think is worth listening to about alternative art.
Yeah, that isn't every day.
Yeah, that isn't every day, and they're quite hard to come across as well because they're so alternative, and we do try and find the most rare finds. So yeah, it's quite rare to find a good speaker, but when we do, it's a great event, so you should go along to that. And I'm also an arts coordinator for On the Rocks now, which is pretty cool.
And I see that there's often like events promoted like life painting or something. Are you involved in that, or life drawing?
Life drawing. So that's by the Art Society. I often go to life drawing. I find it really therapeutic, to be honest. I just sit there and I look at naked people and I just draw, and it's very it reminds me of onsens in Japan. I don't know if you've ever been to an onsen or know what it is.
Yeah, you mean the public baths?
Yeah,
yeah, I was in one. Yeah.
It reminds me of that.
Yeah. You know what? I think it's just there's kind of I think it's cultural, and I think in the West especially, you get this idea, especially I think it's very much a Puritan cultural feature that it's shameful to have a body. It's shameful to show it, and it goes. It's a weird interpretation that because Adam and Eve were naked, that that's because they were whatever, and so but yeah, I think there's ways that you can go and enjoy yourself at these baths without having to be creeped out by a bunch of like old dudes.
No, but honestly, like life drawing reminds me of that because it's so therapeutic and like there's no like judgment in it.
No,
because it's like bodies are just. I don't know, it's art. Like, it's just who you are. It's just being, and there's something whole and wholesome about it, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So I really enjoy that, and I go as often as I can if I don't have essays due that I have to...
Yeah.
So are, like, the subjects of these drawings actual models, or could I sign up?
Like, no, like, anyone signs up. Like, like, if you wanted to, like, and I think the models get paid as well, so,
Oh.
Extra bonus.
Yeah? I could make some money here at St. Andrews for... being confident in myself.
Yeah.
All right, John. I think we're gonna have a song of Hanabi's choice.
Are we?
Hanabi, do you want to introduce the song? Or
I actually had one more point, and this is a bit of an anecdotal story.
All right.
But hear me out. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's this guy. It sounds like a Beatles song. There's this guy with like these mirrors, and he'll sit in a bar behind a group of people that he wants to paint. And he'll actually go in the bar and he will sketch with mirrors the people that are sitting behind him. And it's this very voyeurist kind of art. And so he ends up with these really like beautiful like sketches based on people that he's seen in the bar and like completely fantasist landscapes. Like I've seen him do like one on a tropical beach, one on the cliffs and stuff like that. So yeah, there's all sorts of stuff around St. Andrews. Maybe we should try and get him as a guest along with the purple man. All right, yeah. So
Hanabi, you want to introduce this song? Explain why it's your favorite. Who sings it?
Yeah. So this is I don't know how to pronounce the name. Is it Björk or Bjork?
Let's go with Björk.
Björk, yeah. But I really like her song Hyper Ballad. It got me through some tough times, to be honest. Like I was depressed for quite a while. I have bipolar depression. It really helps me out. I listen to it, and it's quite a sad song, but there is a happy element to it because she's saying that she found this person that makes her happy, and it means a lot to me. So yeah.
And do you sit with headphones on and blast it out, or?
Yes, I sit with my expensive Bose headphones. My dad got me as a present, and I just the quality is just amazing on that.
Yeah, we have the same ones, I think.
Oh really? Yeah. The noise cancelling ones.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's so good.
You don't have to hear your neighbor, bitch about their friends to their mom on the phone or whatever.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that my neighbor does that. My
or have a party in the kitchen.
Have a party in the kitchen. Cover the floor in Echo Falls. Yeah. All right. So yeah, this is Hyper Ballad by Björk. Stay tuned. JJ LePere has been logged out.
Sad.
So when the song finishes, we just address the question that Hanabi got.
Yeah. Alright. Alright, welcome back. So we asked in the buzz box, if you want to join that, it's not too late. We asked in the buzz box if anyone had any questions for Hanabi, and B, shout out to B, had a really good question, which was, why do you enjoy making art?
And I was saying that it's a good question because I don't know how to answer it. Like, I just do, but then at the same time I don't at all. I wrote an article about this in the Tribe. Plug. It's a good plug.
Yeah.
But like, it's making art is quite depressing sometimes, and it can be really lonely, and it can be really quite self-destructive because you're making it and you're always criticizing yourself and you're criticizing your own talent and your art because you're trying to be better. And I don't know why I keep going back to it, but I do. So there must be something in art that makes me go back to it, but I still haven't found what that was. So I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it requires a large degree of faith in yourself when you're making art, because you have to believe in yourself, and I guess that's why some people get really demoralized, is because they're painting, and you need that that tap on the shoulder to keep you going.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have a surrounding where people believe in me, and Rol-J who believed in me enough to actually get me a commission and things like that, and that really means a lot to me because art is so demoralizing sometimes that you really need the external help and external support in order for you to feel like you're actually doing something. And that's great.
Yeah, and it's not only the physical tap on the shoulder, because during the commission that Hanabi was doing for me, along the way she would send pictures of it, and I mean, it was amazing from the beginning. In fact, one of the pictures she sent of the commission, halfway through it, I actually already took it, and I was like, oh, this is really good, and I posted it on my WhatsApp, and people were like, oh, this is excellent.
Oh,
and I told it was half finished and it was already excellent. And I told Hanabi, this is excellent work, and I encouraged her, and I mean, in the end the product was even more beautiful than the half finished product.
Okay, so my question is, how do I get my commission done? So how do you do business?
I opened up a Facebook page. I thought I'm gonna make the most of use of social media and everything. So I already have an art Instagram page, but I made a Facebook page. So I'm going to make sure that I get messages on them, and if I get kind of clients or whatever, basically make them message me on that. Cool. I guess.
And I remember last school year, last academic year rather, Hanabi posted some work on Easel, was it?
Oh, yes.
Yep, there's some work on Easel. It's an independent sort of site where you could retail your art.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's really cool.
And she had some work there, beautiful works, for reasonable prices as well. So do you still have it, Hanabi?
I'm planning to do it again, or maybe move on to Etsy, because I feel Etsy is quite a bigger site. So I might move on to Etsy, and my work, I sell starts from £8. So yeah, there are reasonable prices, because if you want to get original artwork, it's usually much more than that. But because I'm an independent self-starting one, I've reduced the price.
And then there was also the Capture Collective event this year where they sold posters and artwork as well.
Yeah, we're planning to do another poster sale hopefully. So because the first one we got so much positive feedback from that. So we might do it again, because when you get posters from freshers and everything, and you want posters, it's always the same thing, a Pulp Fiction poster or something. It's always the same thing. So yeah, we're selling alternative.
Yeah, posters. That's good. The generic, as you said, Pulp Fiction one. Yeah. Or the Che Guevara.
yeah, the Che Guevara. Yeah. Some kind of communist thing, that's supposed to be funny.
Speaking of communism, so I hear you study IR.
Yes.
Do you also study something else with that?
Modern history.
Modern history. All right.
Oh, ha!
Yeah. So how do those two things in your studies? How do your studies influence your art, if they do?
Well, I'll give an example. In A-level art, basically, I read a book by a guy called Victor Pelevin, who's a Russian novelist, and it was about the seeming structure of human political conversation and the seeming structure of people in a safety net, whereas he was saying that safety net of perceived balance of power in the world is actually non-existent. So he was talking about the Cold War, that people could be nuclear annihilated in a second, and that basically the people who feel as if we're safe are wrong, and we're in fact in danger every second of our lives. and I really like that book. I don't know why. I'm attracted to depressing things, I guess. And I made a piece about it, and it was with like a really large oil painting of a cigarette packet, and it said, you know, the smoking signs that say, what was it, like warning unhealthy or something like that. Yeah. Like, I can't remember exactly what I did, but I censored it with a picture of someone with a breathing mask on top, and it just said like warning on it.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah, it is on your Instagram.
Yeah, it's on my Instagram.
It's a really beautiful work as well.
Thank you. It's it's on my Instagram. Check it out.
Oh, what is your Instagram?
Blackmoor X Art, all in one.
All right, Blackmoor X Art, everyone. So, who's your favorite artist? And do they inspire you art, or do you have any other external influences?
Probably Francis Bacon is my favorite artist. Not the theologian.
No,
yeah, not him. But I don't know anything about him. But
he's an
alchemist. Is he a theologian or an alchemist or something kind of like that? Yeah. I don't even know. I'm talking about the artist. Yeah. He's a genius. His compositional work and his color work is just incredible. And I love it. And I constantly use his geometric patterns in my compositional work, in my own artwork. So yeah, he means a lot to me.
All right, cool. Well, maybe we'll get a similar answer for our next question. So on the next Apollo mission, we're sending an artist to the moon.
Yeah.
Which artist would you choose and why?
Well,
you could choose yourself too.
That's always an option.
No, that's too scary for me. But I don't know. I would want to send an artist that I don't really like, so I don't have to see them ever again on Earth. But I can't really think of an artist that I don't like that much. But probably Lee Yu-fan, who's a Korean artist, and he looks at time and space between objects, and I feel like he's an abstract artist.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be really cool if he went to the moon and like felt the zero gravity and tried to like conceptualize that in art. I think that would create an amazing piece.
Remind me of his name. I'm actually gonna look him up after this.
Lee Yu-fan, Leeufan. Okay,
Lee Yu-fan.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Would you like to ask the next question?
Yeah, sure. So it's dedicated to me as well. So you know, you did a portrait for me. You know. What goes into one of these pieces, and if someone wants a commission, well, we already asked something like that, but what goes into like a commission?
Yeah.
Commissions are incredibly hard compared to other art pieces because you're basically having someone who's relying on you for a good piece. So the first thing I do is I make sure that the base work is meticulous. Like even minor mistakes, I don't let that slide. I'm never that I don't want to use the word but anal about anything, but I am when it comes to commissions and the base of that. So when I do the sketch, I would probably spend like 3 hours on the sketch initially, trying to get the rough works, and then from that I'll probably spend another 2 hours calculating whether everything's correct or not.
All right. Yeah, because one thing someone commented about, I think it was Cam, he commented about the commission I had, was that if I were to hang it in like a grand hall or something, it gives that kind of like dominating like emotion on my face, like grrr. So yeah, I think you captured the emotion well, and I think that's what's important for like any commission, because if you look at like commissions of Winston Churchill, he always had like that screw on his face, and I think it matches his personality.
Yeah, I want to bring power into the piece, and like just visual power usually, because visual power can like immerse itself into different kinds of power. Like you can find visual power to be something that is reflectant of emotional power as well. So the visual power is the most important thing. So I make sure that the aesthetic and the background and the like colors within the face like pop. And once I do that, it usually works out in the end.
I have an ethical question. It's not really ethical, but I guess it's more of a philosophical question. When you get commissioned, are you painting the person as they perceive themselves, or do you paint them as how you perceive them?
I perceive them.
Okay.
Because I think that like I did think about this, but I think that I would never be able to understand and put myself into someone else's shoes, so there's no point of me even trying. I think it's better to just full-heartedly go into my perspective and go with what I want, because they chose me to do the commission anyway.
Right.
But yeah, that's a good question.
All right, so I could ask this question then. So with like a commission, is there like a specific time of day or like setting that you use to paint these commissions? And would you rely on like your past experiences of seeing the person and seeing their interactions to help with your art, or do you go based on like a picture? Or especially if someone asks you for a commission and you've never seen them in person, like what do you do to help with, especially like the emotion or stuff like that? Do you ask for multiple pictures, etc.?
Well, I've recently been asked for a commission of Lord, like the singer Lord.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I just finished doing it, and that was incredibly hard because I've never met Lord.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and I don't know what Lord is like, anything like that.
Very regal, perhaps.
Yeah, so I started off by looking at all the pictures that she's had taken of her, and looked at what the artists themselves wanted to portray in Lord, and then basically copied what the artist wanted to portray in Lord. Because when you look at photographers, they want to capture a certain emotion and a certain vibe of the person.
Yeah.
And I tried to figure out what that vibe was from the photographers, and then applied that to my artwork.
Yeah, she's quite a mellow person, isn't she?
Yeah, she seems like to give off like sad girl vibes, but in a very smart way, I think.
Yeah, I agree with
mature
that.
way.
And this is someone within Lord's circle that approached you for this commission?
No. One of my friends was like,
He's like a super fan.
Yeah.
They need to help make a shrine to Lord.
Okay. Which I understand. I like her music. Like, fair enough. I'd want one of Björk.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Maybe I should make one for myself. Björk.
Yeah. Have Björk in your room.
Yeah. All right. So we'll alternate this question. So I'll go. Name a food, Hanabi, that you like.
Oh yeah. Chickpeas.
Chickpeas. So I'm guessing you like hummus as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know if you saw on Save Best Shoes, but I posted a Save Best Shoes saying, does anyone want to start a chickpea society?
Oh!
And it got a lot of hype. It got like
really?
40, 50 likes or something.
At Mohit Wall, if you're
I was just about to mention him. He lives off of hummus, to be honest.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to meet him, though.
All right, John.
Yeah.
The next one.
So, a place.
A place. There's a place in Fife that I really like. I don't know what it's called, but basically, like, my boyfriend drives me there whenever I'm crying and I'm upset and everything. I go into his car and I'm like, just drive me to that place, and then he drives me, and it's by the coast. There's many rocks, and it's very scenic, and I really like it.
How far is it from St. Andrews?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no conception of time. I have no idea. Maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, somewhere along the Fife Coastal Path.
Heading towards like Dundee.
You would have to ask him. I have no clue.
Dom, if you're in the bus box, then...
All right, and a person.
That. Ooh.
You could say yourself as well.
Oh no.
Self-love is the best love.
Self-love is the best love. A person. That is hard. I mean, I gotta give it to Dom.
Yeah.
He saved my life multiple times.
Wow.
So yeah, thanks, Dom.
I mean, we all have that person in our lives, you know, who adds like benefit to it and who makes it worth living.
Yeah.
Because we all have like dark periods, and I think, especially as an artist, you know, well, not we, because I'm not an artist. Well, I am a poet, but we use our product to display our emotions and to try to understand our emotions better. So I'm assuming you do that with your art as well, and you definitely need someone to do that, because it could be quite scary sometimes, sitting in your room alone and, you know, just writing, and there's no one there to listen or no one there to admire your art. And so definitely having someone to do that.
Becoming a Dr. Frankenstein kind of character.
Most definitely.
Byronic hero.
So, do you have any recommendations for like upcoming artists?
Yeah. I would say the most important thing about being an artist is like trying to find your own niche. I haven't been able to do that yet. I feel I haven't found what my niche is yet, but I would like looking at other artists and copying what they do is the best way to learn. I feel, and to do that with a wide range of artists and figure out what makes them niche, and then picking that apart and seeing and evaluating it would make you realize what kind of things you want to do.
Yeah, because I could speak from a personal experience. I'm terrible at the art, and this summer I always had like paint at home because I did a project in sixth form, and I had paint at home. So I just took up the paint, whatever was left of it, and I just started like stroking on the paper, and it came out quite good for a beginner, and I actually like posted it at home. But what goes into like starting art? I know you mentioned that you have to do a sketch, but if you're just doing like an abstract piece of work, or you're just going to the beach on West Sands or East Sands, and you're just sitting there and watching the sunset, or just watching the rocks, what do you do? Where do I start?
You have to look, and that sounds really, really simple, but it's not. You have to look, and you have to look with a critical eye, and you have to look with your artistic eye. You can look with your observational eye, but when you look with your artistic eye, what you're doing is you're calculating and you're evaluating all the colors in it, the shapes in it, all the compositional works within the scene that you're looking at, and you're doing your best to put that into your page. And the drawing aspect is just about your hand-eye coordination and how well you are about holding a pen and being able to like meticulously do something and your concentration. But I feel like the looking bit is the place where people fall and is what distinguishes people from like good drawers and bad drawers.
And another issue I had as well was with the color coordination, because I know especially for like a portrait like mine, you definitely have to do some excellent like mixing and tell us more about that, like the color coordination for painting.
Yeah. Well, I would say like if I had to pride myself on one thing about art, it would be about color. I think I'm very good at color. Other things I'm not so sure if I'm that good at, like composition, but color is definitely something I'm like quite confident in. But when I start off with something quite simple, I just work with 3 colors, and that's the primary colors, and I just mix them. Because if you make sure that the color palette is quite small and limited, and you're just mixing between those colors will just work together. It just blends in together easier. And if I'm doing an oil painting, then I have my set of colors that I go for, and I make sure that I don't lose sight of the tone. I don't know if you know the difference between tone and color, but...
Well, I mean,
you can explain it, yeah.
So tone is basically shadow.
Listen up, folks.
Tone is basically shadow and light. So if something's really dark, then the tone is quite dark. If something's quite light, the colors, like the tone is light. So you could have a yellow, but there's a dark yellow and a light yellow, right? So when you mix loads of colors, the most important thing to notice is if the tone is right. Because if the tone is not right, the shape of the face looks completely different. Because the bits that are supposed to be high, like the cheekbones, are suddenly like squashed. If the tone is wrong. Yeah. So yeah, that's probably the most important bit when you're doing color.
To go back to one thing you were mentioning, one thing I'm obsessed with is doing sketches of landscapes. And I never want to try and do them as they are really, but it's when I do my sketches, it's all based on a sense of place. And I think it's really important to have that sense of place. And I think that's what, either when I've been unhappy or when I have a really good sense of place, is when I've been able to do like actually like half decent stuff. Like my my art scrapbook from when I was in primary school. That was a bad time for me, but some of the coolest shit I've done with art was during that period in primary school. And then I've done sketches every time, like when I was in Benin in West Africa or New Mexico. Yeah, I just got such a sense of place there that you really want to convey that sense of place to other people through sketches. But because I'm a novice, I feel like after I've done shadowing and stuff, I feel afraid to put colors onto the, the paper, because then I feel like it could break that sense of place. With exactly what you were saying is that then it becomes a lie if you're not able to represent that sense of place with color. Yeah,
I think the same thing comes up with poetry as well, because growing up, and especially in like the lower levels of secondary school, you kind of get this impression that art always poetry always has to rhyme. Roses are red, violets are blue, and but as you get deeper into it, and as you understand the emotion behind it, you realize that it doesn't even have to flow. It could just be like words on a paper that reflects exactly what you're thinking. And I think it's important to always express yourself. And John, I think this might be a good time to take a break with a very important song that you had lined up there.
Oh, yes, sure.
And especially with Hanabi's story about her boyfriend. So,
all right, here we go. This is with a little help from my friends.
And it's a personal favorite.
Personal favorite of the team here.
Welcome back. We're in the last lap, basically, of our show for today. We only have an hour. I know you guys probably want us to have like 10 hours, but we have important stuff, other important stuff to attend to as well.
How could that be true?
I hope you enjoyed that song.
Yeah.
So basically, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna have our closeout and speak about what we had here today. And Hanabi, you could give us more about your art, how to connect with you. And what to look out for from you as well.
Okay, well, follow me on my Instagram at BlackmoorXR, because I'll be posting things on there whenever I have anything that I'm doing. Friend me on Facebook, because I post there a lot about what I'm doing in Capture Collective and On the Rocks and the Tribe, everything like that. So if you're interested in art in St. Andrews, then you should contact me, because I'll be there doing art stuff in St. Andrews.
Yeah, that's really good. And if you're always interested in commissioning me to review, you should also check me as well. I did a recommendation for Hanabi on LinkedIn. Yeah. I literally did it 10 seconds after she gave me my commission.
It was such a nice recommendation. It was like
maybe I should pull it up for people to realize just how impressed I was with this one. And if you do need to see it, you can check Hanabi's Instagram. You can check my Instagram as well. It's on Facebook.
I should get LinkedIn. I have an invite from my friend Alexander Ziolkowski, and I keep on getting email notifications. You have one invite, and I'm like, I'll do it one day. Maybe I should. Maybe this is the next step.
I'm quite active on LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn more than I do Facebook, to be honest.
My Instagram bio used to be add me on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I should do that. Definitely, I should do that. So this is what I recommended for Hanabi. I said Hanabi is one of the most amazing individuals I have ever worked with. I commissioned a self-portrait, and she immediately indicated her availability and set up times for sketches to be done. At every stage of the process, and I'm very serious with this, she sent updates on the work and always asked for opinions of the work. Fortunately, the work was done so perfectly that at no time did I have to give new ideas or recommend changes. In the end, the final product showcased Hanabi's true talent and commitment to art. She provided the most reasonable costing of her work and seemed so eager at every stage of the process. I'm absolutely enjoying my self-portrait. I really am, and will cherish it for a very long time.
Thank you.
When you're president of St. Kitts and Nevis.
I mean, I'll get another portrait by Hanabi this time. I'll do it probably standing over like the speakers during the parliament, with a Winston Churchill king.
Like Caesar.
But yeah, that just goes to show the importance. All right. Any final words, John?
Any final words? Yeah. Thank you everyone who listened. JJ LePere, Steve, Teeny, Alexandra S, JJ, RK, Risky 1948. Oh no, wait. Never mind, not Risky 48. I don't know who that is. But anyways, yeah, thank you for listening. Make sure that you go check out our website, personalityradio.net, where you can expect loads of content and weekly updates. Make sure to check out our contributors, Levert and La Petite Boss. Also follow their social media. That should be promising. And Rol-J, what is our last song?
Well, before we get to our last song,
sorry.
I know we have a listener who's gonna really enjoy this last song as well. Tiara, you're gonna enjoy this one. But before we get there, I just want to say that this was our first time doing this show. It was our first time doing the live stream as well. So you might find a bit of awkwardness in the live stream, but please forgive us as we get better in this. It's our first time on radio. As we get better in this, we're definitely going to improve the live stream. I think it's reasonably okay for our first time. I'm gonna get in a different different orientation for subsequent shows, but I think that it was a really good show. We had good feedback, and I'll just make mention of a few people on the Facebook live stream who gave greetings. So we had Ray Daniel, thank you, Nathan, my sister Renise, and John says hi, and Sheila. Oh, nice to see you on our live stream as well, Sheila. I see you're busy with the SK movement at home as well. So thank you all for tuning in. And Tiara, this song is dedicated to you. It's performed by Omari Banks. It's actually his father's song, Prince of Darkness. The Prince of Darkness walks behind me, but he will never, never, never control me.
All right, thanks for listening, everyone. That's it from us. Now, stay tuned for Omari Banks. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, you could actually turn on